Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Literary Man Max and we're going to be talking about winter releases today. I feel like this is kind of the dead zone for releases, but I did find quite a few that I'm very excited about. I'm going to be talking about releases from December 2025 and then January and February 2026. That's like kind of the winter season. I only have 7 to talk about in December. December is extreme in the dead zone, I feel, for releases, but T. Kingfisher is releasing one at the very beginning of December, Snake Eater. This is a witty horror tinged fantasy, which I feel like T. Kingfisher that's her sweet spot. That's where she kind of exists with her writing. This is set in an isolated desert town and a young woman is seeking a fresh start who is confronted by ancient gods, malevolent supernatural forces, and eccentric neighbors. It also says it's fans for Sylvia Romano Garcia, Chuck Tinkle, and Rachel Harrison, and that has me even more excited about it. That sounds like kind of a perfect blend. I wouldn't have said that before, but I may be a Rachel Harrison fan now. We'll see. And that comes out on December 1st, which is not a publishing day, so I'm curious to see if that's true or not. The publishing day, which is like every Tuesday, is December 2nd. And on December 2nd, there's 4 releases that I'm excited about. The first one is a special edition of a book that's already been released, but it's like a special edition from the publisher, so it's like a more official one, I guess. It's not from like a vanity publisher or a book box. And that The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I think these editions are so beautiful. I'm definitely considering them. I don't need them by any means, but I love S.A. Chakraborty's writing. She is one of my auto-buy authors for sure. And then We Will Rise Again is an anthology, and I've been more into anthologies lately. This is a speculative anthology about protest, resistance, and hope, which sounds really good. I think what originally put this on my radar is that N.K. Jemisin is one of the authors in it. This is one of those anthologies that isn't just from authors. It's from people that are kind of just like, this is applicable to, like organizers and things like that. This is more about social justice than it may necessarily be about the writing, it seems like, but it's like speculative and fantastical. It sounds really interesting and unique, and I'm very excited for it. I will be reading a lot of new authors if I do pick this up too. It may not be one that I get to right away, but I do hope to get to it relatively soon after it's released. This Brutal Moon by Bethany Jacobs is one I've been so excited for. I do have the arc of it, so I do need to get to it sooner rather than later. This is the conclusion of the Burning Kingdom trilogy by Bethany Jacobs. This is sci-fi, it's sapphic, it's very queer, and it is full of revenge. It's so good. I've only read book 1 so far, but I adored it. I loved it. It was immaculate. Dawn of the Firebird by Sarah Mughal Rana. This is for fans of The Poppy War, She Who Became the Sun, and The Will of the Many, which is just like, those are incredible comps. That is a lot of claims to be making, especially since this, I think, is a romantasy, and some of those are just, you know, high fantasy. So I'm interested to see. It's also one of those ones that's coming out with sprayed edges. But Annie Davenport talked about this in one of the talks that she was giving during her book tour, so it had me very intrigued for it. This is one of those romantasies that I'm really hopeful for works for me. Romantasy has been so hit or miss lately. On December 9th, we're getting Dark Sisters by Christy Meester. This would not have been on my radar at all, except I'm getting it in a book box, so I guess it's on my radar. I think that this is a historical horror, which just like most of the time, it's a good bet that this doesn't work for me. It also says 3 women, 3 centuries, 1 legacy of fury, love, and a power that refuses to die, which is also just like not really what I'm interested in when it comes to horror. I really don't think that this is going to work for me, but I did want to talk about it because I am subscribed to the book box that it is coming out in, and I will probably read it before I unhaul it, just to make sure that it's not for me. It could be for me. Maybe it is, who knows. And then Camilla Cole, who wrote the YA duology, So Let Them Burn is the first one, and it's about dragons and sisters, and it's sapphic, is coming out with a dark academic adult fantasy, which it sounds incredible. It's called An Arcane Inheritance, I think. Our main character's name is Ellery, so it's not a stupid first name, which gives me hope, because I feel like a lot of times when the main character has a quirky, stupid first name, then it's really not setting itself up for success. But Ellery Morgan sounds the perfect amount of like gothic, but not stupid. And it's tagged as fantasy, then dark academia, then horror, and that has me extra excited. I've really been into like a horror fantasy lately. I would like to read more of them. Definitely let me know if you have suggestions. On January 6th, I think we're getting the 10th installment of Shauna Maguire's The Wayward Children series. It's called Through Gates of Garnet and Gold. This is about children who have gone through magical worlds, like doors of magical worlds, and now have come back and are in this house and trying to get back, from what I can tell from the first book, which I liked. It's a novella series, so I think it reads pretty quickly. I probably won't be able to get caught up in time to read this book when it comes out, but I would like to get caught up with the series eventually. I did really enjoy the first book. It's weird, it's interesting, and I don't know. Shauna Maguire is probably just for me because Mira Grant is for me. On January 13th, we're getting one from Isabel Ibanez. I have not read from Isabel Ibanez yet, but it is called The Graceless Heart. And so many book boxes are doing this. I think it's like 3 or 4 between January and February are going to be doing Graceless Heart, which is crazy. So hopefully it's good. It doesn't have like stellar ratings so far. It has 600 ratings and it's at 3.8. So that's interesting. This is a lush, atmospheric, and achingly magical standalone adult fantasy romance set in Renaissance Italy. 15th century Volterra sculptress Ravenna Maffi enters a competition hosted by a secretive immortal family who offers an invaluable boon to the victor. Desperate to win so she can save her brother, Ravenna reveals a rare magic talent, a dangerous act in a city where magic is forbidden. Her revelation makes her a target, and she's kidnapped by the Looney family and taken to Florence, a city of breathtaking beauty and cutthroat ambition. I do like the idea of it being a standalone. Like, not everything needs to be a series, but also some of the standalones that have had similar descriptions have really not worked for me recently. So we'll see. I haven't read anything by Isabel Ibanez yet either, so it'd be nice to try out a new author. Another one that I feel like is in a lot of book boxes next year is The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. This one has phenomenal ratings so far, 4.6. This is a debut author. Always interested in those as well. And this is a lush, deadly world, sweeping, epic, and intimate fantasy, perfect for fans of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Song of Achilles, and She Who Became the Sun. So this seems to be a little bit more romance forward as well. This is also historical, which I'm not super sure about, but I'm willing to try. In the waning years of the Azalea dynasty, the emperor is dying and the land is consumed by famine, and poetry magic is lost who all accept the powerful. Okay, the reason I'm not so incredibly excited about this, now that I am reading that synopsis, is that I'm probably gonna have to read poetry. I'm probably gonna have to read poetry that is inserted in the book. That doesn't sound like it is set up as successful for Madison. But it also says that it has darker themes and subjects, so maybe it'll work for me. Oh my god, is it like edgelord poetry? I hope not. That would be a deal breaker for me, but it is in one of the book boxes that I subscribe to, so I'd like to read it before it comes out if possible. And then T. Kingfisher is really pumping them out recently. This is like a re-release. I think that it was originally like self or indie published, and that's a 9 Goblins. It looks like a cute little novella. It looks like it's full of mischief. I can't wait for it. It sounds really, really cute. But like the way that T. Kingfisher does cute, there is still like stakes and grossness and humor to it that I find so engaging. Like, she's just so for me 90% of the time. Oh, and the last 2 and the next 2 are all on January 20th of next year. And this one I have not read from Ivy Ophelia yet, but she came out with The Poisoner, I think. It had this cover, and then they made a worse cover. Now that they're traditionally releasing it, obviously. And she's also releasing something called Fruit of the Flesh, which is a dark gothic historical romance. Horror is also in one of the tags. And behind the glamour of the Gilded Age of New York, a marriage of convenience between an artisan and a ballerina masks their shared appetite for revenge in this darkly seductive gothic romance. That kind of sounds like it's giving like historical Butcher and Blackbird vibes, which I enjoyed. I like it when they're both evil. I prefer it, actually. I like it when everybody's evil. And then we're also getting Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. This is fiction. It's her first fiction book, and this is about a young girl who starts a relationship with, I think, a teacher. And I think that it probably has like some parallels to her experience working with Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider. I'm sure that's what it is, and I can't wait for it. The cover gives me the heebie-jeebies. I will be reading this for sure. I have not gotten a chance to read I'm Glad My Mom Died yet. I have the audiobook though, and I think that's the way that I'll consume it because she narrates it. I am nervous but excited for it. I think that a lot of people are having problems with it because they think that she's romanticizing something that she's just like so clearly not, and that's annoying. But I think I might wait for reviews actually to see how everyone's feeling about it, but it's definitely high up there on my radar. And then we're finally getting the sequel of To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monocle Blackgoose, and it's called To Ride a Rising Storm. In the first book, we were following a young indigenous girl who found a dragon's egg, and in order to keep this dragon, she has to go to this school full of colonizers to learn how to shape her dragon's breath. And these dragons, when they are young at least, kind of act like really sassy puppies, I guess. It's very fun. And she is just dealing with a lot of being with a lot of people who don't know her culture and she doesn't really know theirs, and trying to just like express herself. It's one of those people who are so kind and genuine in just like such a harsh world, but I really enjoyed the first book and I'm excited to get to the second one. And that comes out on January 27th, as do the next four. Big day for releases, at least for me. The next one is on Sundays, She Picked Flowers by Yaya Schofield. This has really, really good ratings so far. I believe that it's a debut. It's horror, gothic, queer. That sounds great. That sounds like all things that I really, really like. This is about a woman who escapes her mother to a countryside of Georgia, makes a home for herself in a cottage given to her by a relatively kind innkeeper. There she begins her Sunday routine, and it's there that she learns the beings in the woods. It's Southern Gothic and it's sapphic, and I've heard a couple early reviews that it's pretty bloody as well. I'm super excited for this. I think it's gonna be so incredibly for me. Paper Cut is about a woman who escaped a cult as a teen, kind of famously, but then things are catching back up to her. I love a cult story. Cults are like one of those buzzwords that just sucks me in right away. This is a thriller, which isn't always something that I am into, but I'm willing to give it a shot because it's about a cult. And this is one that I've seen people talking about online. I think it got sent to a bunch of influencers, but it's I Will Kill Your Imaginary Friend for $200. What do you mean? It kind of sounds like that one TV show about imaginary friends. I'll put it up here because I can't for the life of me remember it, but I remember it was like a comedy situation. But this one is just horror. This is about a contract killer with an unusual imaginary friends who've overstayed their welcome. Only rule is no kids' imaginary friends, but he's making an exception. A balance of comedy and catharsis, the dual narrative tackles both the fear of growing up and the scars our childhood leaves behind. This sounds so fun. I cannot wait. It sounds awesome. I will be picking that up as soon as I can. And finally, A Beast Slinks Towards Beijing by Alice Evelyn Yang. This one was sent to me and it's historical. So you might be saying, Madison, why are you picking this up? And I might be saying, I'm not sure, but I really like the cover. It's historical magical realism, and this is a dark magical realist debut family saga that moves through the Japanese occupation of Manchuria, the Cultural Revolution, and the present day to explore the effects of intergenerational trauma, the legacy of colonialism, and the inescapability of fate. If you knew how many times I had to read that to even kind of get through it, you'd be disappointed. I think that this could be maybe for me, and I'm willing to give it a shot. And that is the last book for January. That felt like a lot of books, but February has more. I think as we get through the year, more books come out each month, and then I feel like October is kind of the pinnacle of how many books come out that I'm interested in. At least October is obviously a big month for horror, and then it starts to dwindle. So we are ramping up. I have 4 for February 3rd. The first one is Greedy by Callie Kazumi. This is about someone who becomes a personal chef to a rich person who has very interesting taste. I think this is pretty much going to be cannibalism for sure. And I'm interested to see if it has a fun twist or too much has been given away in the description. I don't think that I am giving too much away. Like, I haven't consumed it yet, but we'll see. I haven't read anything by Callie Kazumi, but I do have Claire Darling by her. So I should probably read this before I commit to the other one to see if the author is for me. The Glowing Hours by Layla Siddiqui also sounds really, really interesting. This is about while Mary Shelley was writing Frankenstein from the perspective of her Indian housemaid. Like, obviously, we're getting a lot of Frankenstein content lately, but I don't think I've really heard of anything like that. It definitely piques my interest, and the cover is so pretty. Speaking of covers that really just grab you, Cruelty Free by Carolyn Glenn looks so good. This is another one of those like beauty horrors, like reminding you of The Substance. This is about a woman who was an actress and then got her daughter like taken away from her or killed or something, and now she's back with a skincare line that has a very, very bloody special ingredient, but the bodies are piling up. What are we going to do? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. And then The Darkness Greeted Her by Christine Furco. I think I saw Mother Horror put this on one of their many full of images, graphics on their Instagram, but I think I put it on my list because it's a sapphic horror. This is atmospheric, about a troubled teen who is sent to a remote therapy camp in the Appalachian wilderness, where she must unravel a mystery of deadly occurrences as she battles harmful visions of her abusive father, sinister motives, and a lurking monster. It's a YA queer horror, which those have been really working for me lately. I'm excited about this one. I also like the cover. I've yet to read anything by Roshani Chokshi, but they have a new one coming out. It says it's on the 6th. That's not a release day, so maybe it will get changed. This is called The Swan's Daughter. This is a fantasy romance. Oh, it's young adult. It's young adult. I probably won't be picking this up, but I guess I can tell you about it. This is a lush and romantic novel about a prince who is only as good as his beating heart and a maiden who is only as good as her honest word. But when love and the truth become impossibly tangled, the two must figure out how to survive together or completely fall apart. I actually am not interested in that at all, but it's out there and the cover is really pretty. Throne of Nightmares by Carrie Maniscalco comes out on February 10th. I haven't read this trilogy yet, but I know some people really seem to like it. I'm not even sure what this is about, to tell you the truth, but I think it's their first adult series. So I think that's why it ended up on my I might read it list. Okay, and that comes out on February 10th, as do the next 5. And we have a horror coming out on February 10th, The Body by Bethany C. Morrow. This is a pulse-pounding supernatural horror from the best-selling author Bethany C. Morrow. I don't think I've read anything else by them. Where one woman must survive a series of bizarre and escalating attacks on her marriage. I don't think that she's written horror before. There's a lot of people who are writing their first horror next year that typically write other things, and I'm interested to see how that will go. This one's about religious trauma. I could see this being for me, and it's getting picked for a book box that I subscribe to, so I would like to get to it if possible before then. Cleopatra by Sarah El Arifi comes out. This is such a beautiful cover. I've become a Sarah El Arifi fan. I started the Ending Fire trilogy this year and it's phenomenal. I'm so excited to continue with it, and I actually really did like Feybound. It's a totally different vibe from the Ending Fire trilogy, but also still really good. So I think Cleopatra could totally be for me. The story of Cleopatra's life told by Sarah El Arifi. I can't wait. It sounds awesome, and I will read anything that Sarah El Arifi writes, to be quite honest. She has become an auto-buy author for me. In Her Defense by Philippa Malika. This is a sensational celebrity libel trial unfolds. A young woman in the periphery secretly wields the power to make or break the case, but with her own hidden past, will she dare to speak up? I am trying to be a thriller girly. I'm trying my best. I think like the feminist thrillers are probably where I'm most interested in, and I think this could be for me. I like the cover of it, and it doesn't have terrible ratings so far. We'll see if I like it. This is like a 50-50 of whether I absolutely hate this book or if I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think is kind of where I'm at. We'll find out. I'll let you know. The Wicked and the Damned by Rebecca Robinson comes out, which is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wolf. This is a romantasy, arranged marriage type of situation, and she has the shadow magic, which I love that. Women can be shadow daddies too. So this is very exciting for me. It was just like a very typical romantasy, nothing special, but like nothing that I was irritated with. So in that aspect, it's special. And we're on to February 24th now. Nowhere Burning by Catriona Ward. I love Catriona Ward. Some people have been really disappointed by this one, which I'm really sad about because I was really excited for another Catriona Ward. It's about 2 children who are seeking refuge, and they know of a place in the mountains where like a commune of children are, and they try and get to that. But the group, I think, is not everything that it's cracked up to be. I think that this could be really, really good, and I love the cover. I want it to be good. I don't want it to be disappointing, but I haven't heard a ton of great things about it from other people. The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox. This is not a cover that I would be typically drawn towards, but the ratings seem to be really, really good so far. This is fantasy, it's romance, it's mythology. This is from the author of The Last Dragon of the East. I haven't read that. Comes a sweeping fantasy adventure with a dash of romance between a nine-tailed fox and the demon hunter who captures her, banished to the underworld together and forced to form a reluctant alliance in order to escape the circles of hell. I love the circles of hell. That's probably why this is on my list. Yeah, I will be reading that. I love the circles of hell. It's such a great plot device, literature device, I don't know, but I love it. And then finally, The Red Winter. We are not seeming to get a lot of like high fantasy releases next year, at least not in the beginning of the year. So that's why this one initially caught my eye, and then I kind of read the plot. It's a queer high fantasy, like a MM written by an M fantasy. So A tragic love story, a bewitching twist on history, and a blood-drenched hunt for purpose, power, and redemption. The Red Winter by debut author Cameron Sullivan is the story of the first werewolf. That sounds so good. I'm very excited about this one, and I think that it could be a really good new author for me. So can't wait to get to that. Let me know if any of these were on your radar, if you're excited about them, if I've missed one that you think that I would be obsessed with. Definitely let me know. My TBR can never be too long. Subscribe if you feel like it, like if you haven't. And thank you for being here. Leave me any red emoji, I guess, for the Red Winter if you just want to say that you were here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.